Hi, so thanks for having me. Look, I think I hesitate to use the word boring, but I think we heard a lot of what we already know and what we already think as a forecasting community this afternoon from the chairman. And so I do think we tee up, perhaps not for June, but I'm really worried, frankly, more about kind of that mid-July, mid-August period when I'm expecting to hear, we're in one reporting season now, we're going to be in another reporting season then, and I think getting a lot more color. And when I was talking to my rate strategist earlier today, he was saying, that he's, looking for kind of May, June. We'll get a little bit more color on how the hard data is being impacted by all of recent events, but we may not necessarily get all the color that we're looking for then either. So we'll see what they say. But, I really sympathize with the chairman today when he said, we're really waiting and seeing. We're all in this big waiting game. It's not exactly clear when it's going to end.
And Adam, how much does the market then have to hang on here? I mean, so far, earnings season, I think it's probably fair to say, especially on the big tech end, but overall not as bleak as some feared. Guidance has come in from a number of companies, and in a lot of cases, it's not that bad. So are these levels, you think, defensible?
I think we're towards the upper end of the recent trading range on the S&P. I definitely think we're coming out of an earnings season that was very encouraging. Like you said, you had healthy Q1 numbers. Guidance, for the most part, wasn't disastrous. You have seen full year estimates kind of bleed lower as we're nearing the end of the reporting period, but it definitely wasn't as bad as anticipated. And most CEOs and CFOs sounded just like Powell did today, where they acknowledge that conditions at the present time are okay, but there's just a huge amount of uncertainty on the horizon, which was pretty much the main message from Powell today. So I think markets now are kind of going to pivot back and watch to see how these trade negotiations unfold. Administration officials have implied we could see an announcement imminently on at least one agreement, and then obviously have a huge China meeting this weekend in Geneva, which will be very important. So that's really the central focus for this market right now, is how these trade negotiations unfold. What do these deals look like? Where do tariff rates kind of reset to when the deals are in place? And that's the critical variable.